Moops.
Well, before we get into our recent shenanigans in and around the Azeroth of the Alpha Quadrant, there was actually some other Star Trek media that dropped
Some
contemporary news
other
to here.
magic
Yes.
from a forbidden land of quality.
So this is November of 2024, near Thanksgiving, and I didn't know anything about this at all until it came out.
Which is
And
really
this,
the best way to
yeah.
enjoy anything, because you go in with zero expectations and zero priming one way or the other. And what you are talking about is, of course, 765874 Unification, released by OTOY.
So this apparently is a short film released by the Roddenberry Archive and their technology partner OTOY with Paramount's cooperation. So this is an official licensed work of Star Trek. It was very clear in the credits, by the way, that was the case. This is legitimate in the eyes of the IP holders. I believe the access to the IP was permitted as a consequence of whatever lingering legal arrangement is present between the Roddenberry family and CBS / Paramount / whatever it's going to be after it gets bought. And it's almost like 2001: A Space Odyssey art house short film with no dialogue that conveys Kirk in the afterlife and then returning to reality to be with Spock when he passes away. And it sounds wild, and yet you watch it and like, this totally makes sense. I totally get it.
It's a fun one. It's a sad one. It's a touching one.
Sad.
It is incredibly well done, not only from a story standpoint or a production standpoint, but from a technological marvel standpoint.
Yeah.
The de-aging on this thing, I would say, is amazing. There's some wild fucking names involved in this. And the name that is involved the least is Paramount. And as you just said, like, it is done in conjunction. There is legal allowance, but the best piece of Star Trek media that has come out, or the best Star Trek media that continues to come out, is stuff that has been created outside of Paramount. It's Orville, it's this thing, it's other little snips of real Star Trek out there. And again, there's new Trek out there I like, Lower Decks, some Strange Worlds.
Picard Season 3.
Picard Season 3, very notably, but then you get into some of the real passion projects that hack fraud Kurtzman has that is just way off the fucking money. And Kirk, has really, well, Bill Shatner specifically has been at the center of a lot of controversy. And it's easy to look at these Star Trek days and see these banners, and it's like, all right, well, there's Uhura and Spock, there's Archer, there's whatever that cartoon boy is from Prodigy, down there 7 and 9, okay, there's Picard, although it's super old season 3 Picard. Why isn't Kirk there? Why is the original hero not there? And you can say, all right, there's a conspiracy and Paramount hates men and blah, 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 blah. But we've had this conversation before. And
Yeah, we have.
I don't think that Bill Shatner's hands are unclean in all of this. I'm sure he is a real B to work with on certain levels. I don't know what kind of financial tie-ups they have. I don't know what his asks are on this stuff. And I'm very aware that at a certain point, you have people that are just so difficult to work with. It's easier to say, you know what, fuck it. Let's look at some of these other options that are going to score us brownie points anyways.
And Bill Shatner is not somebody that has generated a reputation of being a stable Hollywood figure. we'll say, to work with. He's got an almost mercurial reputation. It's not at a true psychopath level, but he's always been seen or perceived through pop culture as persnickety, we'll say. Not Marlon
Mhm.
Brando, but hard.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Who
Yeah.
knows what the real truth is? I mean, you and I are two schlubs in Ohio podcasting on a Friday night. I can't tell you what the truth is.
True.
But the end effect is that Kirk has been absent in a lot of official productions lately.
And
Although, to be fair, Kirk character was heavily featured in Strange New Worlds, including one of the best episodes, which was that time travel episode.
I'll go as far as to say I was excusing it in part because William Shatner is very, 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 very old. He is in his 90s. I presumed he probably was deciding to let this go as he entered the end of his life. Imagine my shock when I found out that he actually was involved with this project and that's him de-aged as the principal version of Kirk. I didn't think this level of de-aging was possible. They took like 40 fucking years off of him.
It looks great.
It does.
This, I love the fact that it's unclear exactly what's happening, and you get the gist, which is Kirk is in some sort of afterlife.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of a walk between worlds, and then in some capacity he is there with Spock on his deathbed.
In the Kelvin universe. Like they actually do a very good job of painting a picture for you of how this could work without telling you exactly. The classic respect your audience move. You open, and there's Gary Mitchell. We know Gary Mitchell from Where No Man Has Gone Before, the official first Trek episode, and his godlike powers, all that stuff. Very fundamental Trek piece of media. And he opens his eyes. He has these powers. We know from that episode that he was one of Jim's best friends. Maybe this is something that he has something to do with. Maybe he sees the necessity of making this happen as a consequence of his omnipotence.
Or maybe that's just part
there
of all this other shit going on, because you've got smash cuts to the Enterprise D saucer grounded. You've got smash cuts of was she a yeoman or an ensign or
Yeoman
what?
Colt, yes, from the cage.
Which Colt is her service number is this 765874. And I watched a couple more of these OTOY productions, and it seems that 765874 is a anthology. I don't know, it's some sort of a collection. I don't know what her relationship is to all of that. I appreciate the mystery because it's not
it's fun to speculate.
It's not J.J. Abrams' mystery box that will ultimately have nothing in it. So who knows what? Maybe she's a Q. Who the fuck knows? But there's a lot of smash cuts between different high def footage from other OTOY productions, and I believe there's some Picard season 3 in there, because that's where they find Kirk's body.
Correct.
Well, I mean,
that's not from Picard season 3. They use the fact that's in Picard season 3 to try and build this bridge. That Kirk's body at some point was in the
Daystrom Institute.
The Daystrom Institute archive.
So maybe it's Gary Mitchell pulling strings. Who the fuck knows? Maybe it's God. Maybe it's Spock hallucinating all this stuff. But the events are the same nonetheless, and it's Kirk walking through a field of dead people. Savik's in there.
Savik and
Sarek.
Spock's son, not Sarek.
Really?
So, do you remember when we were reviewing Search for Spock, and I told you that the script and novelization explicitly state that Savik slept with Spock when they were on the Genesis planet and got
Yeah.
pregnant, and that was the reason why she wasn't in Star Trek 4?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be his son. And that's apparently expanded on in a book that I did not read, but that's who that is supposed to be.
Well, good on you for resisting temptation, I guess. Who's the guy in the TNG season 1 uh gold uniform? It looks like a Riemann, but it's not.
Glad you asked. That was the other piece of this that sort of makes it make sense in continuity, even with all of the Trek that's out there. So you've got this deep cut, right? That was never actually explicitly discussed on screen about that Spock's son.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is from Discovery. So Cronenberg, his character, Kovacs, who's unfortunately eventually retconned into being Agent Daniels,
Mm.
conveys to Culber that the reason why Grigio is going to die, because they're now so far into the future, is that you can be displaced on a dimensional basis or you can be displaced on a time basis. But if you're displaced on both, you end up your cells don't know where to go, and you basically end up obliterating yourself. You don't belong here. You try to escape, and your body just falls apart. And he summons up an image of this guy, this character, and said, "This dude was somebody that came forward in time from his version of the 24th century, but in an alternate universe where a Romulan mining ship came through time and caused a huge incident against the Federation in the 23rd century." So this dude is this Yor. His name is Yor, Lieutenant Commander Yor, and he is supposed to be from the Kelvin universe. And the entire point of that is just for Cronenberg's character to say, here's a case. We know this happened in the past, so that's how we know this is what's happening to Grigio. And so they pull this character out as the bridge to get to the Kelvin universe from wherever it is that Kirk is.
Very strange pick, because this guy just looks fucking evil, and it's like, okay, is the devil sending Kirk out? Like,
Right.
who is this Dracula looking motherfucker?
I appreciate that it is in such an incredible deep cut that I knew exactly what they were intending with this, but that's why it worked. There's no dialogue in it. They literally can't explain the plot to you.
While there's not dialogue, there is excellent facial acting.
Amazing.
There's a lot of like, I'm about to start talking, but then I catch myself and stop. Savick does it. Kirk does it a lot. Kirk does it between themselves.
Correct.
You've got another, what I've considered to be a big name, which is Sam Whittier, who I love. What was he? Racetrack and BSG. He's a big deal to me because he's Star Killer out of Jedi, Star Wars, Force Unleashed.
Yes.
1 and 2, which
1 was amazing.
Were my favorite Star Wars stories ever. So I think he's actually got producer credit on this. He portrays the young version of Kirk that gets morphed into Shatner's young face.
Correct.
So he was wild to see on there. Skywalker sounds involved. There's a lot of like key Star Wars, like legacy Star Wars, pre-Disney Star Wars pieces in this thing, which are fun. What other big Easter egg characters were in there that you saw?
Well, that's really it for the Easter eggs as far as characters go. Savick, Spock's son by Savick. The fact that Savick was played by the same actress that played her in Star Trek 3 and 4.
Colt.
You're the guy from Discovery. And then that they go out of their way to really make sure you know that Kirk is now in the Kelvin universe, because Spock has the same memento picture of the Enterprise crew in that box that he gives to Zachary Quinto's Spock in Star Trek Beyond. So Leonard Nimoy had died between those two movies, and so to resolve that as a plot point in Beyond, I don't know if you ever saw it, the only good JJ product, in my opinion, and was made by the Fast and Furious guy, which didn't shock me. He gets his personal effects, and in the effects is that box, and it has a picture of like the Prime Universe crew on the Enterprise A, and it's on his, right next to him on his deathbed.
It was also interesting that Colt is shown both in the Cage Velvet gold, and then it looks like she's at the Daystrom Institute looking at Kirk's data feeds or whatever, and she's
Yeah.
wearing the Kelvin verse, the ones where it's like a bunch of
It's like got that
Starfleet
texture.
chevrons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so like I was like, okay, interesting. So lots of interesting questions there.
Kind of almost that reminds me of almost like a Bioshock Infinite, like the Luteces
Yes,
type of circumstance. Like, are all the cult, like yeoman cults, in contact with each other from across the universes and able to communicate?
I like that.
Yeah,
Look, Star Trek does very well in putting something cool out and not explaining it fully and just letting you play with it. That's all not behind the scene. That's a little bit behind the curtain. Center stage is great performances in
oh yeah.
terms of facial acting, even through the CG. I particularly like Kirk, old Kirk looking down, seeing TV show Kirk in his reflection in the water, and then it's TV show Kirk between old Kirk and Wrath of Khan Kirk.
And the way that Wrath of Khan Kirk is highlighted with the light the same way he is when he opens the door to the simulator at the beginning of Wrath of Khan, is this sort of imperious figure of leadership and responsibility, how that
Admiral Kirk, I
contrasts.
guess, would
Yeah.
be the right way to describe him.
Yeah, Admiral Kirk and Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk is almost repulsed by Admiral Kirk. He does not want to become him. You know, he's very trepidatious about it.
Again, great face acting. The three of them seem to reach a consensus on what's the right version to go talk to Spock, and brings. To me, is he the angel of death? Is he a friend? There at the end, is he really physically there to comfort Spock? Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's great regardless. Spock's CGI looks good. I know that all the families of everybody involved all signed off on this. I don't know what this can be looked at other than a product of love, because you're not selling a product, you're not selling ad time. Maybe
They literally can't even have the video listed. Like, you have
I
to find a
saw that. I was
link.
like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
How
Like,
weird, how strange.
no
Because
money can be made off of this. That was
right
had
now,
to have been part of the deal.
I'm looking at this. It's got 38,000 likes. This is the official OTOY, right? It has 185 down clicks. This posted 4 days ago, and it's just shy of 7,000 views, which seems crazy low to me. But again, when this fucking thing's unlisted, and really your only way to come across it is
How many
face.
views does your version have?
I'm looking at Unification parenthesis 4K 7's unlisted 6,000. I'm sorry, 694,000.
696,000. Yeah, that's what I've got. I don't think that's
696.
crazy low. It seems right.
Well, it just got 2,000 views since I opened this thing. 25 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean it's captured attention despite the fact it literally cannot be algorithm, boosted. It's unlisted. You have to find a link to it. Links are everywhere, but you have to find a link to it to get to it. Nuts. Nuts.
So again, this thing, I guarantee you wasn't cheap.
No. Didn't look cheap.
So I don't know if this is Shatner paying for it out of pocket. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Bill Shatner and I'm reaching the end of my journey and I've got this weird, lifelong relationship with Star Trek, for better and for worse, this is a excellent use of my estate money to put myself back at the forefront of Trek in the most pristine light possible.
Absolutely.
As a piece of PR work, like, it does not get much better than this. Where not only do you look fucking amazing, but you look like a real champ, bringing Spock back in the mix and all this other fun stuff. And it's new enough that it's touching on all this expanded new Trek shit and integrating with a larger timeline while keeping it real and hitting you in the feels. Just fucking amazing, and hits all the right notes. Nothing looks hokey. And like I said before, best piece of Trek to come out of Trek, and Paramount's hands off on it. Go figure.
It's a simple kind of storytelling, one where you rely on visual design, subtle acting decisions, and sound. Music in this is really well done. Sound effects are really well done. Whole thing is produced with an artistic quality that you can tell an amazing 9-minute story about two of the most iconic characters ever to exist in all of pop culture, transcending space and time so that they might end their existence together and have no dialogue in it. And it's like the best fucking thing anyone's seen all year. Just it's well done. Well done. If you haven't found it, it's on the, go seek it out. Type it into Google. You'll find it immediately.
You could go to the trauma support group on Facebook. You can go, it's
Go
posted twice on
Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we should probably just pin that fucking thing.
Go see it. It's worth it. You know what?